Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today the Honorable Prime Minister Luc Mercelina on Ghetto-News to keep the people of St. Martin informed. So of course, how are you today, Mr. Prime Minister Luc Mercelina?
Man, today is actually very good with your program. David, I really want to thank you. For me, it's an honorable moment that I'm here in your program. I want to thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to have a great interview with you today in your Ghetto-News, as everybody knows you.
Yes.
In St. Martin.
Yes.
And once more, congratulations for all the good work that you're doing. I think you're doing with Ghetto-News a tremendous job for the people of St. Martin.
Thank you. Of course, we're going to get right into it. Of course, the first question is going to be, what was your accomplished since you have gotten office?
Yes, David, the first thing is I will summarize some of the achievements. The first thing I think that we achieved with this country, if you remember how the atmosphere was before elections, we were very negative and destructive with this country. And since I took over, since Cabinet 1, that was after the elections of the 3rd of May, I think after we settled in a new government, although we had some political turbulence and the government fell, but I stayed still as the Prime Minister in a demissionaire government. We got re-elected in November, so we had our moments of bringing back trust, hope in our country. And now the country is more, as we say, more tranquilo. People are becoming more positive and constructive. And I think that is part of achievements too of a new government and a new leader. And I'm very proud that people are feeling the tranquility back in the country. They're getting hope back, and they're getting back the trust in our democratic system. And I think that is very important. Next to that, of course, I can summarize a few things that we have done in a short period of time. Don't forget that since May last year, the government fell and I became the leader of a demissionaire government. That means you cannot take significant decisions that have a significant impact on the future of the country, so you're just keeping it going until you're officially the new government that came after in November after the elections. But for example, you recall we had this big, huge energy crisis in St. Martin, and it was a very threatening moment for the livelihood of the people, but also for the safety of the country. So we had actually, when I took office in May, immediately you saw the implosion of the energy supply to the country. So I stayed focused. We did what we had to do. We imported the 10 megawatt generators to add some extra value to the grid. After that, immediately we took the decision to add another 20 containerized generators to add to the electricity grid of the country. And now I got, thank God, the approval also for the 40 million US dollars for the purchasing of 3 9 megawatt generators to add to the grid. Initially, we stabilized the energy crisis by stabilizing the energy grid for the country, and I have now the shift to make from the stabilization of the grid to the sustainability of the grid. So that is what we're doing now to make sure that our energy is being secured for the country. Next to that, we are looking also parallel to that for renewable energy, renewable green energy for the future, and solar panels are going to be a great add to the energy grid for the country support. Next to that, don't forget, we opened our airport, at the end when we started. I started in May, I went immediately to the airport. I told them, guys, I know this is going on for many years already, but I want, as leader of this country, this airport to open in November. No mercy. And that is what they did. I have to thank everybody from the airport for what they did for us to have an airport today. And actually, David, if you're honest, a state-of-the-art airport for St. Martin. And I think the best airport in the East Caribbean for St. Martin. So I'm very happy that we could reopen our airport. The princess came even from the Netherlands to open it for us. So we did a move at opening of the airport. As you know, of course, I was a surgeon in the St. Martin Medical Center for years. I was very worried about the progress of the construction of the new general hospital. I went to the hospital, I spoke with them, and I told them, under this mission of this leader of the country, we have to do more than what we're doing. I took over the construction when it was for a long while already, only the foundation. You remember, they were talking about the foundation. And if you drive down by the hospital, you see enormous progress in the construction. So I hope that I will keep the tempo in the construction, that at the end of the day, we will get our very promised hospital for Country St. Martin, and as the airport, a state-of-the-art hospital for St. Martin. Next to that, remember, the police, when I took over, the police had 4 cars in this country. 4 cars. I added another 19 new cars to the police force of St. Martin. I added a new ambulance vehicle, a few, I think it was about 3 to 4 vehicles I gave to the ambulance department, and also we added to the police, I told you already, and the ambulance also we added some vehicles to improve the service on level of fire department, police, and ambulance service for the country, St. Martin. Next to that, we have the VKS. The VKS are those that are always helping us when we need them for the security and the safety of the people. These people didn't have an insurance. Wow. Can you imagine, we have them on the street taking care of our safety, and if something happens to them on duty, they have no medical insurance. Wow. I made sure that they got an insurance. Also recently I managed for the civil servants family to get a financial aid if they lose, unfortunately, one of their family members that is a civil servant. And I increased it to 9,000 guilders. So if somebody passes away in our civil servants organization, the family can get until 9,000 guilders to help them with support of the costs for a funeral. Further, I'm busy with the DRF. The DRF is the Disaster Reserve Fund. That is a fund that I want to organize with Country St. Martin, that we actually deposit systematically monies in. We have some loans, for example, at the airport. These loans has to be paid back to government. We're going to use, for example, the amounts that we have to pay back from the loans. We're going to deposit them in a fund that we can use in case of challenging times with a disaster, a hurricane. We have funds that we have money to spend to actually restore, reconstruct, and build up our country back. These are long-term vision, this DRF, but I think it's something great for Country St. Martin. And in this way, I can stay till tomorrow morning telling you things that we are doing. But we have to stop somewhere.
Yes,
time, right,
David? I congratulate you for the few that you have accomplished, and I hope you continue that good work.
Thank you.
So now, of course, my second question is, what's your take on the business people, even the common people, who is having business on the French side and Dutch side?
Yes. You know, David, we have to start from the concept of one people, one island, one nation. I have no problem as leader of the Dutch side to be against this. Why should I be? I think that we must be able, because we are starting from the concept of one island, I think that people should be able to work on the French side, and the French side should be able to work on the Dutch side, because at the end we are all for one island. So I have no problem with that, as long as we adhere to the rules, regulations, and the laws, and we pay our taxes and behave okay. I don't see a problem for us to actually work on both sides of the island, because at the end of the day, I am a person that is in favor of having a one concept of one island for St. Martin. So I have no problem with that. And not only on business level, but also the working class, or the business people only, but I think that everybody that works should be able to work on the French side and also on the Dutch side.
Okay. So now what's your take on the crime that is going on?
Oh, the crime is a big problem, David. It's worrisome, of course, but we have to go and think what is actually the cause of this crime increase. You remember we had already a time in the past that we had an enormous increase in gun violence, and criminality last year. It was so far even that we had to ask assistance from the military, remember that too, against my intentional will, but okay, we had to do something. That is not going to solve the problem. We have to go back and think, what can we do with the generation of the youth of nowadays? And the problem is not only our generation, but I even go further. It's not about only the education, institutional education that these kids get at school, but it's about home education.
Yes.
And now we are in a phase in St. Martin that the home education is also failing. Even the parents nowadays are not an example anymore for their kids. And we have to be honest with them. And next to that, of course, we have to make sure that we facilitate the youth, to guide them and educate them. To what do I mean with that? We have to focus not only on the education in the morning hours at school, but also organize after-school activities for our kids. So we have to work on gymnastics, we have to work on the sport complexes and all the institutions that we can build in the neighborhoods to entertain in a positive way the youth once they get out of school, and the focus will be also on after-school activity for country support. We have to focus on the home education, the parents.
Yes.
We have to focus on improving the quality of education at school, and we have to focus on after-school activities by actually accommodating the youth after school too, with sport complexes, gymnastics, and all the institutions that we need in the neighborhood to entertain, educate, and keep the youth in a sound way busy on our island. That's what has to happen with St. Martin, I think.
Yeah, that would be great. Seeing we talking about the schools, what's your take on the school in the region and so forth?
Yes, it's good that you say that, David. We have the school of the Marie Laurent School in the region. Every time I pass there, I look at that school, but I have good news for you. In 2025, we're going to start with the reconstruction of the Marie Laurent School in the region. We have also the Leopold Bell School in Kobe. We're going to tackle that one too, completely reconstruct these two schools completely. And next to that, we're going to start working on the gymnastics of the schools and also the sport complexes that we have in St. Martin. We're going to all reconstruct them all, and at the end of the day, I hope in 3-4 years from now, when my first tenure phases from my first governing period of 4 years, but I hope we will look back and say at least we achieved those things for countries St. Martin.
That would be great, trust me. So what's your take now on the joining the CARICOM? Because we know the Caribbean, everyone is joining.
Very good. Yeah, everybody's speaking about the CARICOM, but there is also another one called the OECS, the Organization of East Caribbean States. The CARICOM is a good organization, but we should know also that the CARICOM has a very high membership fee. Oh. And if I'm not mistaken, it's about $300,000 per year.
Wow.
It's a lot of money. So at the other side, we have also the OECS, the Organization of East Caribbean States, and this one, the membership fee is much lower. Compared to the CARICOM, if you become a member of CARICOM in the status that St. Martin is in, being part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, we will become associate members. While if we become a member of the OECS, we will become a full member of that organization. So realizing also that St. Martin, the French side, is recently they're going to be part of the OECS. I think we did not take the decision yet, but we are contemplating, evaluating what is going to fit the Dutch side of St. Martin better. We have the option of course, CARICOM, but also the OECS. But time will tell, but that decision will be taken this year for sure.
All right. So seeing the French side has started with this recycling business, this recycling movement, what's your take on that?
You know,
and the dump as well.
And the dump as well, yeah. David, you know, it's good that you touch base on this topic because, of course, what we have to be very critical and think good about is our waste management in St. Martin. It's not only about the recycling, it's about the bigger concept, picture. What do we want to do with waste management in St. Martin? One of them is, for example, what I think that we have to do, and we're starting to think and work in that direction, is to establish waste authority in St. Martin, that everybody is aware that everybody has to contribute financially too for us. It cannot be that everybody produces waste and you're not contributing financially to take care of it. That is something that has to happen. But next to that, the fundamental question is, what are we going to do with the dump? And personally, I think we have to lower the dump, and we have to transform that in recycling approach. For example, there is a company now that is probably going to start in 2025 collecting all the tires on the dump. They're going to chip them with a special machine, they're going to pack them in, and they're going to export them for recycling of rubber. Then, if that is successful, they're going to do the plastic, and they're going to do the plastic bags too. I have to tell you, by the way, talking about plastic in this country, you have to realize that the highest contributor of plastic in this country is the bottles that we introduce for water. You can imagine how many containers of water we import here in this island just for the satisfaction of using a bottle for maybe 2 minutes to drink a bottle of water, and then we have to throw it away. It is a pity, of course, so we have to start thinking also on our consumption behavior to reduce the import of plastic in this country. So I think the fundamental question that you asked me about management, about waste, is we have to organize our waste management. We have to lower the dump in two directions, to recycle, like I told you the example of tires, but on the other side also we have to think about waste to energy. It's also a big trend in the world that I think there's a lot to say about that. But at the end of the day, I think we have to tackle the dump hill, let's put it that way. We are doing also other small things. For example, we're going to start with the scale, the weight scale. When you come with garbage, when you're going to weigh the scale, weigh the garbage, you have to pay for that. We call it a tipping fee. And I think all those are going to contribute for us to become more aware and have a more structural management of our waste in our country. And that is the future vision for waste for country St. Martin that I'm working on. But I have so many things to do, David, and a day is only 24 hours, so we have to use our day very good to make it happen, for us to improve the livelihood of the people of St. Martin. On the other side, I am very happy. I have a wife at home, and every morning she asks me, do you regret all the stress that you have and all the responsibility weighing on your shoulder? Don't you regret that you left the hospital? I have to tell her that I miss my patients, but on the other side, it's very honorable that you got the opportunity to become the leader of your country, and I think you have to deal very respectful with that mandate and do your utmost best to make the best out of it. To really make a difference and leave a legacy behind and be the difference for the country. And that is on the one side, and at night when I go home back, my wife asks me every night, did you do something significant for your country today? And I think as long she asks me every night when I come home back, if I did something significant, I have to do enormously my best in the morning and through the day. So when I get home at night, I have a good news for her that today I did this for the country. And in that way, she keeps me sharp to do what I have to do for country support.
Oh man, I congratulate your wife, man, because they say behind every good man.
That's a good woman, right?
Exactly,
of course.
exactly.
And you know, she's a very hardworking woman, and she's a gynecologist working hard also as a doctor. All the women diseases, all the deliveries, and as you know, babies come through the morning, daylight,
anytime,
at night, anytime, 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. That is her life, and you have to give her gratitude for all she has done for the women of St. Martin.
Oh yeah, because the women, you guys playing a
I
very
made use
important
of your
role.
camera to tell her, Patricia, great job. Thank you for everything you're doing for the women of St. Martin. Thank you that I made use of that.
Of course, we have to pick up our ladies in the island. They carrying our babies, they're doing a big role, you know.
Of course.
So congratulations, Patricia, very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes, so since we've been talking about the water bottle, you know, our culture, I noticed our culture have been going on the drain, like the wells. The old people, they didn't use bottle back then.
No.
They used wells, they could have opened faucet and we had water the whole time.
And then we have these bottles, and as we were speaking before the interview, you have these bottles of water standing there in the hot container.
Oh, yeah.
The temperature fluctuation, what does that do with the interaction between the plastic
Yes, it goes into
and
the water.
And
then we
and then we wonder why are we so
Get sick.
unhealthy nowadays compared to the people
Back in the days.
back in
Yes,
the days.
yes.
So we have to become a little more critical with our behavior and also our consumption in general. How do we want to proceed with diets, with water? We have to be very critical and think twice now how we have to move forward with our lives and try to be more healthy than how we are busy now with our lives. And that's what I think. And especially as a doctor, of course.
Of course,
I'd
exactly.
like to see a more healthy St. Martin. And as you see, we do not have such a healthy populace at this particular moment. High incidence of hypertension, high incidence of diabetes, and a very high incidence of dialysis patients too.
Wow.
And that reflects for me that is a parameter that expresses that we're not such a healthy people here in St. Martin. A lot of work to do, David.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Honorable Prime Minister, one last question. What is your take on the land situation on St. Martin with people need their papers, fixed succession land, they can't build and so forth?
Yes. The first thing, David, that I think we should do now, and we never did that in a good way, is we have to have a better zoning approach to the country. That means that we are going to be more critical, with more vision. We're going to look into what are we going to do with areas in St. Martin? What should be the destination of certain areas in St. Martin? What is the best way we can use land to serve the people? Next to that, we have a problem that we are very limited in land because we have the hillside policy. And as you know, St. Martin is the 11th most populated country in the world. So we do not have much land, it's overcrowded, and we don't have much of it. And a part of it is succession land too, that you said just now. So this succession land is becoming a problem because there are so many families involved in it, but none of them are financially powerful enough to take up the project and say, let's divide the property. So you have a lot of succession land that are not going to be resolved because of family issues. Instead of they uniting with each other, of course, they're going to fight with each other, and at the end of the day, the destination is that their whole life they're going to fight about the land, and at the end of the day, nobody's going to get a piece to help him increase his livelihood and his quality of life. And that is a pity, and what we have to learn in this country, David, coming from, I see a shift already from last year, before I took over office to now, we are becoming, and you have to give the people of St. Martin some credit too. They're becoming more positive. I see that they're becoming more united. They are fighting less with each other, and they are starting to realize that we have to have a mindset change to be more in unity and in inclusion with each other. If we do not unite with each other, we are not going to be successful in this country. And that's why in my behavior as a leader also, you see that I do not go for the confrontation. I always want the compromise and a solution to try to please the majority of the people. Of course, you cannot please everybody. And that is the bad part of my job, that whatever decision I take, I will never be able to please everybody. But I try to please with my decision the majority of the people. And that is my task. And my other task is, and I have to realize that good, that I'm not here to control, to dictate, no, I'm here to facilitate. And a good government, a good leader of a country, will lead with the vision of facilitating its people. Look, what do we need in this country? What do the people need? What are the priorities for the people? As long as we go to the way of thinking of facilitating the people of the country, I think you're going to be a great leader for a country.
I believe so too. I know I told you that was the last question, but I have another important one. What's your take on the cars, the traffic?
The traffic is also a big problem. You know, David, the problem of St. Martin is, as I told you already, we are overpopulated. We have limited road network here in St. Martin, and we have too many cars in St. Martin. It's very painful to say, and everybody says by keeping the behavior of continuation of more import of cars, People are telling each other, yeah, but the traffic is congested. Of course it's going to be congested because we have too many cars per square surface of road in this country. What you have to do now is think different to solve the problem of the congestion of traffic in this country. It's not about adding more roads to the country, it's about utilizing the roads more effectively. One of them is, for example, to think on how I'm going to do it by shifting, when are we going to start with the schools in the morning? Maybe if we shift that an half hour later, it's going to be better for controlling the peak moments of traffic here in this country. Another one is, for example, let's shift a two-direction road in one-direction road. For example, if you take the strip, Simpson Bay there, let's turn it and make it one direction and make a big loop going from Simpson Bay, passing Coal Bay, and go back the other side of Coal Bay, go back to the causeway, and come back as one loop. And all of a sudden, with that decision, you transform the two-direction road in one direction, and you double your amount of roads that you have, because you double the amount of lanes. And maybe we can do it on this side of the hill, being the Phillipsburg side. We can do it also, as I told you, as an example, the Simpson Bay side, the over the hill side. If we can make it loops and O's and make good interconnection between the loop in the middle, I think it's going to be a big add to alleviation of the traffic congestion of St. Martin.
Wow, that would be very good. There you have it, people of St. Martin. Mr. Honorable Prime Minister Luc Mercelina. It was a pleasure being here, interviewing him for the people of St. Martin.
David, once more, I want to really, out of my heart, thank you for the opportunity that you give me. I want to really make use of this opportunity, although it's through your own camera, to once more thank you, but also compliment you for the work that you have been doing for the people of St. Martin. I think you are underestimating yourself, the big contribution that you are adding to informing the people, educating the people, and in this way contributing to the development of the society of St. Martin. And once more, David, out of my heart, I really want to thank you, also as Prime Minister of this country, for the great job that you're doing. And you know, I have always been very, very impressed with your love and your passion for your country. And I think that's the only way for us to book success in our country, is to do everything out of our heart that you are doing. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much, brother. Have a blessed continuation in government.